Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of Project 365 teaching cloud technology and Linux to everyone. So this is Kiran Reddy Abdullah again. So today we're going to be understanding how to set up a virtual machine or how to create a Linux server on our local environment. Yeah. So before that, we'll just do a quick recap. Okay. So in the last class, we understood what is exactly Linux and how exactly Linux came into existence. So in the year 1969, the first programming language C was created, and out of which the operating system Unix was created. But of course, Unix was only limited for commercial usage. So if anybody wanted to use Unix, they have to go ahead, they have to purchase the license. So slowly, a lot of different organizations, they started using Unix and they started creating their own Linux system. But in the year 1990, that's when the GNU project started, and Linus Torvalds, who's the father of Linux, has created the Linux kernel, and they added this to the existing Unix operating system. Now, I'm not saying Linux is a pure copy. The idea is a copy. Yeah, the idea we can say it's a clone, but they have created their own code. And we have also seen why should we go ahead, why should we use Linux? Because simplified updates, it provides free software licensing. We get access to the source code. It has multiple distributions and it provides better malware protection. So this is a very secure, this is a very safest operating system out there. So why should we use Linux? As I said, it's very low cost, it's very stable, it provides best computing power, it is the fastest developing operating system, so on and so forth. And we have seen some of the basic differences between Unix versus Linux. And here, talking about distributions, we have discussed what are the different distributions in Linux and which distribution should we go for depending upon your used case scenario. So this is fine, guys. But now the question is how can we get a Linux server? That's right. Yeah. So how can we get a Linux server? So today, the agenda is I'm going to show you how to create a Linux server on the local environment. So here, how to set up a Linux server on local computer. So this is what we are going to see. So this is where, in order to set up a Linux server on a local computer, first thing you need to understand the concept called as virtualization. Virtualization. Now, what is virtualization? Yeah, simple guys. Virtualization. Hmm. Virtualization is a process or it is a means of dividing system resources, or it is a process of dividing something physical. Okay. For suppose, in India, we use a lot of, we do a lot of transactions through UPI. Okay. So what is this? This is called as virtual money. All the transactions that we make through Phone Pay, Google Pay, and all that. So these kind of transactions are called as virtual transactions, or in other terminology, this is called as virtual money. Means the money is there, but it is not physically there. Yeah, the money is there, it is not physically present. So simple, tangible and non-tangible. Tangible is something that we can touch, we can see, we can feel. Non-tangible is something that we cannot touch, we cannot see, but it is definitely there. So virtualization simply means creates and simulated or virtual computing environment as opposed to a physical environment. So it is going to create a virtual computing environment just similar to a physical environment. And virtualization often includes computer generated versions of hardware, operating system, and storage devices. So virtualization means creating a replica of everything, of hardware, operating system, and storage devices. But how is this possible? How is this virtualization possible? So virtualization is possible with a software called as hypervisor. That's right, hypervisor. So what is a hypervisor? Hypervisor is a software that you can use to run multiple virtual machines on a single physical machine. So hypervisor is nothing but a software that will help you divide the resources of your physical computer. Like let's say I have a laptop. In the laptop, I have 10 GB RAM, I have 1 TB storage. So this software, it can help me divide it across multiple different operating system. So here it says Every virtual machine has its own operating system and applications. And the hypervisor allocates the underlying physical computing resources. So if I want to create a computer, I need some resources like what? Like CPU, memory to individual virtual machines. So once I download this hypervisor, what this is going to do is this is going to start dividing my operating system. Sorry, this is going to start dividing my physical resources like CPU, hardware, storage, everything into different virtual machines. So this can help me set up different virtual machines on a single server. So first thing, guys, talking about hypervisor. Now you're supposed to download a hypervisor. How to download here? You guys can use any hypervisor. There are some popular hypervisors in the market. For suppose we have VirtualBox from Oracle. Yeah, you guys can download the Oracle VirtualBox, okay, depending upon what platform you're using, or you guys can download something called as VMware. VMware is also another popular virtual machine or popular virtualization tool here, VMware. So you guys can go ahead, you guys can also start downloading VMware. Okay, so let me just open the direct link so that I'll share you guys the link, guys. I'll update the link in the group, sorry, in the link in the description. So this is the link for the VMware. I've downloaded VMware on my local machine, so I'm just showing you how VMware works. You guys can use VirtualBox or VMware. That's totally up to you. So yeah, this is VMware, and it says try Workstation 17 player for Windows. So if you want to download, you can just click on download. It is going to start downloading. And once you download the VMware, you also need an operating system. So here I'm using a CentOS operating system. Now, depending upon what type of operating system you want, depending upon which operating system you want, you guys can go ahead, you guys can download an operating system. But here I'm using a CentOS operating system. If you want to download Ubuntu, if you want to download Mac, there are a lot of different operating systems that are available online. So you guys can just browse it and you guys can download it. So now the first thing that you need to do is download VMware or download a hypervisor on your local machine. Then download the operating system. Now you guys can download, as mentioned, any kind of operating system that you want to run. So now I did the setup on my Windows machine. So here I'll just show you guys. I'll just switch to my Windows machine. There we go. Hmm. So here guys, now this is my Windows laptop that you guys can see here. Now on this Windows laptop, so I've already downloaded VMware. So if I go to downloads, somewhere, you see, you guys can see I've downloaded VMware, the software. So once you download it, just go ahead, just run this software. Okay. And once the software is run, so this is how the setup is going to look like, the VMware setup. This is how the interface of the VMware would look like. You see, guys, this is how the VMware interface looks like. It says, welcome to VMware Workstation 17 player. So now what is the agenda? Now on this, you want to go ahead, you want to create your own Linux virtual machine. That's right. Yeah. So you have an option here that says create a new virtual machine. Okay. Now just click on this. All right. So you see, guys, once you just click on the option, now the first thing it is asking for is a disk image. So what is a disk image? Like, imagine, guys, this is just like an operating system image. Yeah. So whenever you want to create a brand new virtual machine, every virtual machine or every computer needs an operating system. So they're asking, do you have an operating system? So what I did is I already downloaded the CentOS operating system. So you guys can see the CentOS operating system that is available here. CentOS disk image file, and you guys can see the size. The size is somewhere close to 10.5 GB. Yeah, so the size is pretty heavy, but Now, this operating system, what am I going to do is just open the virtual machine. It is already loaded, but you guys click on browse. Once you click on browse, you guys can see, you guys can select the operating system. So I've downloaded I have three different operating systems here. One is Ubuntu, one is CentOS 7, and one is CentOS 8.5. So just select which one you want to run or which one that you have downloaded. So here I'll select CentOS 8.5. I'll say open. Now, once it is open, okay, so just click on next. Once it is selected the OS, just click on next. Now it is asking some details, guys. So you guys can go ahead, you guys can give some details here. So I'll say, yeah, I'm going to give my name as Kiran Reddy and username as Kiran. Password, any password that you guys are comfortable with. I'm giving a default password here. Okay. And click on next. Now it is asking, hey, what do you want to name your virtual machine? So I can name it anything. So I can say test VM, test virtual machine. Click on next. And it is asking, what is the maximum disk size? So as I mentioned, whenever you're setting up a virtual machine, it needs some CPU, it needs some RAM, it needs some source storage, right? So by default, it is taking 20 GB. If you want to increase it, you can increase it. If you want to decrease it, you can decrease it, but I'll just let it be at 20 GB. And you guys can split the disk or you guys can store it in a single file. So I'll say store the disk in a single file. Click on next. And then you guys can see the details here, guys. This is where your operating system is located. This is the name of the operating system, CentOS 8, 64-bit, and how much storage you have provided, 20 GB. How much memory it is allocating? It is allocating 1 GB by default. So let's say you want to provide more RAM capacity. Just click on customize here. So once you click on customize, guys, this is where you guys can allocate your RAM capacity, but it is recommended to provide only 1 GB because I have already have divided my operating system. Sorry, I've already divided my RAM into two different operating systems. But if it's a brand new machine and you have 8 GB RAM, so you guys can increase it. You guys can play around. Yeah. So if I want to give 2 GB, I can go up to 2 GB, but I'll just leave it to 1 GB. Okay. I'll just leave it to 1 GB. And now I'll go ahead. I'll say close, close. And then I can click on finish. So once you click on finish, now this so-called software, this called as VMware or hypervisor, it is going to take all of those resources and it is going to start formulating, it is going to start creating a brand new virtual machine. And that would take up to 20 to 30 minutes of time. So I'm not going to go ahead, I'm not going to do this because I already have a virtual machine set up here. So once you have done with the process, once you click on finish, so this is how you guys can see the overview of your virtual machine. You see, I have a CentOS 8, I have CentOS 8.2. So these two virtual machines are from the same operating system. So once you see the setup here, just select the virtual machine and click on play virtual machine. That means you are starting your virtual environment. Click on play virtual machine. Okay, click on yes. It is asking, do you want to establish connectivity? Just click enter. So guys, if you are doing it for the first time, like if you are trying to set up a virtual machine on the local environment for the first time, it will take some time, guys, because it has to download some packages, it has to download dependencies and resources. So just give it its own time. And while if it is asking for some permissions, just go ahead and just approve permissions. And once it is done, you guys can go ahead, you guys can boot the machine or you guys can start the machine. So this is how the booting process is going to look like. So currently I'm going ahead. I'm starting my virtual machine on my Windows laptop. So we'll just wait for a minute. All right. You guys can see my CentOS system has booted up and you can see my username. It says Kiran. So I'll just click on this. This is the same username that I've provided before. It's going to ask for my password. So I'll enter the password that I've provided while I was setting up. It says incorrect. Yeah. You guys can also see when was the last time I've logged in into this server, guys. And now it has collected all the details and it is just going to go ahead. It is going to start up my brand new virtual machine on my Windows server. So if you want, you guys can maximize this. Yeah. Yeah. I've just maximized it for a better view. And we'll just give it another quick minute. Yeah. Hmm. And there we go, guys. So this is our brand new virtual machine. And by the way, this is a Linux virtual machine. This is not a Windows machine. This is a Linux machine. So towards the left, you see, you have an option called as activities. If you click on activities, you guys can see the interface here. And if you click on this option, show applications, it is going to go ahead. It is going to show you all the different applications that are available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly open the terminal that is available here. You see the black box. I'll just open the terminal. Now in this terminal, if I just run a command, if I say uname, you see guys what it says? It says, hey, I'm a Linux server. You see right above here, I'm a Linux server. And if I want to see the complete details, I can say cat etc OS release. So this will give me the complete details of the operating system. Now look at this, guys. This is a CentOS Linux operating system. We are running the version 8, and this belongs to the Red Hat family. Yes, you see this? And some other details. So now this goes ahead. This shows you that we have been successfully able to set up a Linux server on our local Windows server, guys. You see this? Where is this running? This is running on my local Windows machine. So now, once you have successfully set this up, this is absolutely fine. This process is absolutely fine. But there is a problem. Yeah, there is a problem. What is the problem? Yeah, what is the problem of setting a local virtual machine? Simple, guys. When we set up a local virtual machine, you know what this tool is doing, right? What the VMware is doing, right? The VMware is going ahead. It is collecting resources. You see this? Again, I'll say create new virtual machine just to show you guys, just to highlight the problem, okay? You see, whenever I say I want to go ahead, I want to create a new virtual machine, you see what it's asking every time I am creating a new virtual machine, it is borrowing resources. You see this? Sorry. Yeah, it is borrowing resources. It is asking for some storage and then it is going to go ahead. It is going to ask for some RAM capacity. So like this, I can set up one or two virtual machines, guys. But imagine you need tens or hundreds of virtual machines. Doing this process is absolutely not possible because eventually your physical machine is going to get absolutely slow. Yeah, because you're running multiple different processors behind the scenes. Sorry, you're running multiple different virtual machines behind the scenes, and your CPU, your processors, your storage are getting distributed. Yeah. So eventually your physical virtual machine is going to get slower. Now, for this exact reasons, IT companies, they stopped using local virtual machines. Now, even today, there are some companies who are still running applications on their local virtual machines. But for this reason, IT companies have stopped using their local virtual machines. So what are they doing, guys? Now, the best option to set up a virtual machine is through the cloud. Yes. So what is the best option here? We can just go to any cloud service provider. So AWS is going to be our first choice here. So I can simply go to AWS. I can simply create an account and I can start using the AWS cloud computing platforms where I can go ahead. I can create any number of virtual machines with any kind of server capacity that I want, and I can start using. So guys, today we have seen how to set up a local virtual machine with the help of VMware, and we have seen what are the problems of setting up a local virtual machine. So in the next class, I'm going to teach you how to set up a virtual machine on the cloud where we are not going to burn any of the local resources. And we are going to start understanding how to run commands on the virtual machine that we have created. Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. And yeah, so stay connected. And if you like the video, kindly share and subscribe. And see you guys tomorrow in the day 3 of Project 365 Learning Cloud Technology. Thank you, everybody.